Wow. Hello.
Wow. Hello.
Welcome back.
It's been so
Welcome back,
long.
everyone. It's been so
Been
long.
so long.
Been so long. This is our second installment of One Piece, I think. Of the third. Well, second saga.
Second saga.
Right. Second saga.
Okay,
Third episode of One Piece, second saga.
Yes.
Of One Piece that we're reading. Of the NgoVo. That's confusing. Of the NgoVo Convo podcast, where two stupids make a hype.
I think that's hype.
I'm
more confused right now, but yes, that's right.
Yeah.
It's hype.
It's hype. I'm right. I'm one of your hosts for NgoVo, and I'm joined by Harrison. No. It's that way.
Yes. Hello.
I'm this way.
Dude, why are you pointing to your what?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm this way for you, but we're okay.
I don't know anymore.
If you're new here, which we seem to have a lot of new subscribers, welcome. We both just want an excuse to talk about anything that ranges from anime to comics, but also we have a never-ending backlog that needs to be cleaned up.
That's what we're doing right now. It's knocking out mine.
This is part of this this is part of Harrison's backlog. Because some would say this is conversing.
Like NgoVo Convo and NgoVo Convo spelled right.
Wow.
The logo right above my head. Like because we're conversing.
Because our two last names are just combined and conversing.
Oh, we're like fully explained. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. You can watch every episode on youtube.com or listen to it as a podcast by searching NgoVo Convo and NgoVo Convo, like Harrison said, on your podcast service of choice. We're on 10 different platforms, 10 plus different platforms.
10 plus.
10 plus. So in this episode, we're going to be breaking up Alabasta.
The Alabasta Saga.
Alabasta
This guy right here, thought it was just one arc, and
thought
it was way long. It is long, but
this guy over here. So we're gonna cut it into by certain arcs because some of them are longer than others. But in One Piece, I'm just gonna explain it. Sagas are like big chunks of the story, and
honestly,
arcs,
yes, explain it to me because
I
did not understand what was going on.
So there are arcs, right?
Yes.
As in any anime or manga. But how One Piece is, because it's like 1,000 plus chapters.
Because it's so long.
It's so long. It's like people say it as it's like a saga because each saga is a big portion of the storyline. So now we're in Alabasta. Finally, Harrison is 10% into One Piece. That's really sad to say.
10%.
But yeah, so if you're not caught up on chapters 101 to 114, don't listen, or maybe pause, read it, come back to us.
Manga wise, we didn't really. I'm not watching right now because it's just faster to get through this.
Yes, yeah.
And I think the art. I think it's good to like look back at the art for this because it's so long. Because I saw the animation for the new stuff. It looks cool, but I remember watching this when it first came out in the US, and I did not like the art. Again, I'll say it. Again.
No, it's fine. It was like the 90s.
It's growing on me, but it's growing on me.
Yeah. So if you haven't watched those two portions, we'll get into the arcs names in a little bit, so you can kind of like skip around if you need to, or if you need a refresher, go watch the anime or read it, like Harrison. But also, we're sponsored by Anchor, which we'll get into later, much later, a little later. So the two arcs that we're going to be talking about today is Reverse Mountain and Whiskey Peak. Reverse Mountain is like a really small one, like a really small chapter arc, really. Yeah. It's like 4 chapters. And then Whiskey Peak is like the good chunk of our part 1 of this enormous take that Harrison's about to do. But Harrison, non-spoiler thoughts. I know it's been a long time. It's been since November since we've done this.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's a little hiccup that we're not going to talk about. But Harrison, your initial thoughts about going into Alabasta, because I know you've seen up to this point. I think
I finished out the Alabasta Saga, anime-wise, but that was like years ago.
So you're not gonna remember details or
Oh,
like.
dude. Okay, no, for real though.
Stuff.
Like these two arcs, I forgot it straight up. But as I read through it, so like whiskey or Reverse Mountain arc, totally forgot it was a thing.
You totally, yeah.
Because it was so short. Because I think the anime was probably one episode or two. Because it was not that much. It took up but it wasn't that long. And then Whiskey Peak, I actually remember vague like images of like me watching or seeing these parts of the episode back then when my older cousins were watching this back then.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't caught
like
up.
Fights.
And the fights. No, but I remember like just seeing Luffy or on these parts and all this stuff. I'm sorry, Zolo back then because of copyright reasons. Isn't that like one reason why they like went with Zolo and then finally just changed it to Zoro?
Zoro, yeah, I think so.
Because some people say it was translation, but I was like, that's probably like more like they didn't want to
get sued.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah,
but,
definitely.
Overall, it was a good refresher, and actually, I'm seeing characters that I totally forgot they appeared this early on. I kept thinking it was later, but I also couldn't remember when I would see them.
Like when, yeah.
Yeah. We'll get into in the spoiler part. We'll talk about who. But no, it was good. Did you recap recently, or are you just kind of going off of memory right now?
No, I did recap. I reread it this past weekend.
Nice.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, because funny enough, we were. I'm gonna tell this funny story because I am the scheduler out of the two of us, and. And this was partially my fault as well, but I was just, telling, when I was scheduling this, we were gonna do, like, each saga, like, per episode, which we tried experimenting back in November, and it was just, like, really long, and so I was like, okay, let's break these arcs up, and the miscommunication happened, and why we're taking so long to get back into this was that Harrison thought he was supposed to read like 100 chapters for today's episode.
And on top of that, we also had the holiday break.
Yeah,
so
we had a holiday break. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'll do it over the holiday. Obviously, it didn't happen. Oh, I'll do it after the holidays. It didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
Here we are, February. But so yes, This is technically Veronica's the one that's already read most of the stuff, so I'm kind of leaning on her to break it up as best as she could or can.
Yeah. Which I did.
No, she did, but I kept remembering the old schedule, and I was like, "Oh, that's
Which
like
was
100
like big chunks.
Yeah, the big chunk. I was like, "Oh God, that's so much. I'll do it eventually." And
we figured out like the other day. It's Wednesday today. We figured out the other day that. He was like, oh, it's only like 13 chapters? 15 chapters?
I was like, wait, you're only asking me to read this much? And then I was like, well, even then I thought you were asking me to read like 50 if we're breaking. Because you mentioned we break it up.
I was breaking up,
I was like, oh, God, it's good. Okay, it'll probably be like 50, 40 chapters. And then I looked at the schedule. I'm like, oh, it's only 14 or 13. And you're like,
and then like we told his wife, who's a big One Piece fan, she was quite upset.
She just gave me the biggest side eye and rolled her eyes in such a fashion.
In a great fashion.
And I was like, oops, I guess I'll read this now.
Oops. But yeah, I had to tell that story. It's pretty funny. But before we get into spoilers, we're going to take a quick break, talk about our sponsor. On this episode, we are sponsored by Anchor. It is a free podcast hosting service that we actually use. We've been using Anchor since we've started the podcast. It's because there are creation tools that allow us to record and edit the podcast right from our phones and computers. A huge plus for us is that Anchor would distribute our podcast to all platforms such as Spotify, Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, and many more. It really is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one spot. Please download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm, anchor.fm to get started. Oh my goodness, we're back.
What a great sponsor.
Drink your water?
No.
Wow, it really is.
That's the wrong one.
But yeah. Oh yeah, Olipop. We have a code. We'll probably talk about it later. Just wanted to get into that.
Fair. Fair.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna start off spoilers with Reverse Mountain. This is like manga, so I don't know the anime episode numbers, but chapter wise, it's chapter 101 to 105. Oh, are you looking it up?
I'm just curious. Yes.
Oh yeah. Reverse Mountain. So, how did you feel about this chapter? Because they packed in a lot in 4 chapters.
It wasn't too bad. Honestly, it wasn't too bad. Also, sidebar.
Oh yes.
Crunchyroll breaks it up by the saga, so it is episode 62 to 135.
Oh wow.
So I don't know what
So
episodes.
know.
It's probably
Okay.
super.
Yeah,
early
I'm
on.
pretty sure it's 2 or
like
3
first,
chapters.
like, yeah.
Or
First like 10 episodes is probably what we're covering.
Yeah.
But Reverse Mountain, it was because this is the going back to where they're trying to get into the Grand Line, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
they're figuring that they have to go through a mountain, blah blah, all this stuff. So I was okay. I kind of remember this. I kept thinking this was later. Again, my memory of like where things happen is not accurate.
It's not.
Because okay, I thought Alabasta was happening before the Grand Line part. I didn't even know they were in the Grand Line at this point. No, and so this is a great time to read because I'm paying attention.
Wow.
And learning
Paying
that there's
attention.
okay, Reverse Mountain Arc, they encountered the whale.
Yeah.
What's his
Laboon?
name? Lagoon. Yeah.
Laboon.
Lagoon.
Lagoon.
Yes.
Lagoon.
Not Lagoon. Lagoon. I kept having to reread it because I got confused. I was like, Lagoon. No, Lagoon. Okay. But the story, honestly, it was like kind of most of it was like just they're encountering this thing. He's stuck.
How wild was it to see that they
You're
had
hearing
to go
sirens.
up
That's
a
on my
mountain?
end.
That they had to go up a mountain to cross it. Were you expecting that, or were you expecting them to like go around or something?
No, I expect them to go straight through it because I know, at least I understand and have the expectation that One Piece is weird with certain things.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, so they're just balls to the walls. So
Yeah.
no, I knew they'd do it, but it's funny how they go about it, and how, honestly, it's really funny how unprepared they are. Like it's
Oh yes.
amazing because everyone mentions it. Like everyone's like, "Do you guys not know how this works?" Like how are you guys? Like they really did just kind of go for it. And I'm like,
Oh
nice.
yeah. But I think that's the personality of Luffy.
No, that's like
He's
the charm.
just-
That's the charm,
yeah, the
right?
charm. Yeah.
No, yeah. So it was interesting. They encountered the whale, and then only Luffy did not get eaten, but the rest of the crew and the ship
They did.
got
And the
eaten
ship.
by because Luffy's so headstrong
Luffy's
and just
so
wants to punch
stupid.
everything right now. So stupid. Absolutely dumb.
Absolutely. Yeah, but we meet a couple new characters, more characters, side characters. Crocus is the doctor.
He's the doctor inside the
inside of Laboon, who's taking care of him.
Yes.
You meet Miss Wednesday.
Yes.
And Mr. Nine.
Yes.
Those are like the 3 like main side characters you get to see this arc.
For this arc.
Yeah, for this arc. How Laboon. So the backstory, if you are paying attention to it, the backstory of it is that he got left behind because he's from
Blue.
the
West Blue?
West Blue, yeah. East Blue, I think.
No. I think Alabasta's east, right? Or no?
I don't remember. I need a map.
It was confusing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's 2
But
blues.
he's
That's
from
the
one of the blues.
Yes.
One of the blues.
Yes.
And so they had like a little flashback like from 50 years ago about Laboon.
50 years.
I know. How do you feel about Luffy making that promise?
Oh, okay. So we're just it makes sense because it's like, the doctor explained how because he's rolling back.
So basically, Laboon is like
stranded
waiting
for the crew that brought him there
to come back.
Because that crew asked the doctor to take care of him. They're never coming back. Blah blah blah. But Balloon needs help. So Luffy, in his own way,
Stupid way.
yes, I mean, but it's stupid with the action, but it's very endearing that he's giving Laboon hope.
More hope, yeah.
More hope and a way to prevent him from, because he told him don't slam your head because he drew on like the pirate thing. So he's like, don't rub that off. So essentially, if you rub that off, then the promise is broken almost.
Yeah.
So I think it was endearing. I thought it was really nice. It made sense in his own dumb way, because everyone else was like, "What are you doing?" Like he straight up was like, just punched him, stabbed him with no.
Yeah.
He stabbed him with the sail, the mast.
Their sail. Yeah,
And
the
I was like, what's happening?
And I like how Usopp's like, is that part of our ship?
And then wham. Into the whale.
And I know I've said this earlier, but you are 10% in now into One Piece.
It doesn't feel like it.
Yeah. Well, it's about to feel like it.
No, it feels less.
I
honestly.
know. The more you read it, the more it keeps going, and the more you're gonna have to catch up. Yeah. But we're 10% in. Do you know how connected Laboon is to the story, or do you remember?
No, Laboon. No idea.
Yeah. Okay.
No, but because the one thing that threw me off at the end of the arc was, well, probably more connected than I think. That's my guess right now, because the doctor was straight up like, "Oh, there's some air about this guy, right, Roger?" And I was like, "This guy knows, like
it was
Goldie
crazy.
Roger." So I was like, "Wait a minute." Yeah. That's when I was like, "Oh, everything's going. All these alarm bells are going off." I'm like, "There's a reason." So,
did you like the villain duo? Miss Wednesday, Mr. Nine.
Reminded me of Team Rocket, but yes.
Yeah. They were trying to kill him.
They're trying to kill Laboon to get meat. Essentially get food for their village.
They're whale killers.
So, whalers.
Whale killers.
It's like the whales from Avatar.
Wow, yes. And someone commented, they were like, "It's not." And I was like, "No, it is."
They were memeing hard. Mm-hmm. I was like, you get it.
Yeah.
I hope.
So they were in this chapter. You learn about there are 7 different paths down the Grand Line. Yes. They call it like 7 like magnetic fields. And then like they're separate, but they all go to one island.
They all link to the last island.
Yeah. The last island. Raftel is the last island's name. Mm-hmm. So they have a long ways to go because they just entered the Grand Line. Literally, they're at the start.
This makes more sense, yes.
Yeah. And so I think in the anime, if you rewatch it, it's really cool how how you visually see all 7, and you're just like, oh, they got to pick one and go, basically.
Yeah, but they got pushed to picking one. Essentially by the duo, right? By Miss Wednesday.
Yeah, because they had to go home. The duo had to go home.
Well, they did, but
they did. Yeah, that's another spoiler. Is there anything you're anticipating now that you have more characters that you're seeing?
This is gonna be in the second arc because something about Miss Wednesday threw me off, and I was like, "There's something familiar about her. What's going on?" Legitimately, I was like, why does she seem familiar? I don't get it. It's fine.
You're like, it's okay.
My thought process as I was reading this.
Try and get you fresh back into your memory, basically. Yes. But basically, after this, you don't know anything, right? After Whiskey Peak?
No. I do.
But you did finish.
I finished Alabasta. I just don't remember much, like at all. No. Like, literally, as I'm reading this, I forgot about these 2. And I feel like I'm going to forget the next part after this. There's so much.
Important.
I kept thinking, to just add, I really thought that they try to get into the Grand Line, doesn't work, so then they somehow get to Alabasta. That is how I remember this.
Is that how you remember it?
And now I'm reading, I was like, this is not, nope. I did not give 2 shits about One Piece, apparently.
Okay. Well, not until you got married.
Yes, because this is my wife's, out of the big 3, this is my wife's favorite, and she will hold it against me. Because apparently I chose the wrong one.
I mean,
don't worry about it.
Okay, so everything after Alabasta will be a surprise.
Yes,
Okay.
I think.
Oh boy. Okay, well, that's all for Reverse Mountain. I don't have anything else interesting about it. It was short and sweet.
Yep.
And it's just where they're starting.
Good intro to how the Grand Line works.
Yes.
or doesn't work.
For them because they're unprepared.
No, it also just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because
Okay, let's get into Whiskey Peak. It's chapter 106 through 114. It's another small arc. It's just like it was just really jam packed.
This is the part I low key remember. This is this was kind of dragged out in anime, I think.
Yes, it was.
Okay, because I remember them being in this area for a while.
I think at least like 50 episodes.
Yeah.
At least.
Probably, I believe it.
Yeah, because how One Piece anime worked was that they, I believe they were 2 years behind the manga, and then so to stop themselves from catching up to Oda, they had to like
pace it out and
pace it out, and they're doing that now. So
classic.
Yeah, classic. I know. But yeah, Whiskey Peak. We basically meet a ton of people, and was it like that the crime group? So basically they get into this island, right? It was called like the Cactus Island or something, I forget.
Something.
It's a cactus something. But yeah, did you think that they were gonna relax when they got there?
No, I thought it was super sus how the whole
really
town
sus?
was like greeting them and it's our saviors, these adventurers, tell us blah, 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 have drinks with us. I was like, yeah, that's sus. All right, what's going on?
They're like pirates.
But once they got in, they showed the guy with the big, like all the rolls for his hair and stuff.
Yeah.
I saw him and I was like, all right, the mayor is very familiar and I don't know why.
And you don't know why. Well, in this arc, we learn about there's like a secret criminal organization. They do like espionage, like assassination, theft, like bounty hunting.
Yeah. They're like called the Baroque.
Yeah, the Baroque Works.
Baroque Works, there we go.
Yeah. And so it's super secretive. So secretive that Zoro knows about it.
Well, because he was recruited.
He was recruited. And
he said, nah.
I just find it so funny that, the best pirate hunter decided to say no to this like bounty hunting organization.
I mean, he had his reasons, I'm sure. His ideals and all that stuff.
But so basically the issue was that their log pose, so every time you hit an island, you have to stay there for either hours or days because the next route that they're going to won't like start up.
Essentially it's almost like the watch has to sync with like
with the
Wi-Fi and make sure it's getting the that's how I thought of it. I was like, we're just syncing the watch. Got it.
We're just syncing, syncing with the island.
Yeah, not
literally, but but during the part where they were like partying, did you realize how much food Luffy could eat?
So
like how, because he's rubber.
He
right?
is rubber.
He's
and the amount he ate, he got to the point where he was just a big ball, right? I remember seeing that and him walking afterwards. And like this is like me like being super young and like just remember seeing that. I was like, oh, that's weird. That's funny. I laughed because he looked funny, and as a kid, I'm like, this is hilarious. But I can remember like why. He just ate a lot.
He went through 3 chefs.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then like obviously there was Sanji. He was a little lover boy there.
Yeah, surrounded by all the women. And then of course Nami and Zoro drinking contests with other people.
It was crazy. I personally didn't see Nami as a full-on alcoholic until this arc.
So I think I already kind of knew that. So when I saw it, it didn't like throw me off or anything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the fights because I know you want to talk about the fights. There were a couple. Mostly with Zoro.
Mostly
was like
with
the
Zoro.
Center of this. So my question is, you're reading this right now because it's quicker. Are you gonna go back and watch these fights?
I might. I actually might because I was like, I kind of remember these being cool to watch or funny.
Yeah.
So I might actually. watch this.
And he was testing out.
Because if I had to go back, he was just testing out the swords. I was like, that's so cool. This is why he was my favorite watching when I actually kept up with One Piece. Zoro was my favorite. Because he was literally just testing out each one. And he's like, oh, one of them cut through when he wasn't supposed to. And he's like, oh, this is the problem child. I was like, this is so cool.
It's so cool. But yeah, Zoro fighting the town by himself because everyone else was like gone or sleeping or drunk. It was just...
because he faked being drunk at the end.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, that's cool.
I know. Yeah, but Zoro testing out. I think you should watch it. I think it's at least like 2 episodes.
Okay.
You should watch it. Yeah. How'd you feel about the Luffy and Zoro's fight? Because Luffy is his ideas about people being good. You kind of see the coin flip, right? Because
how naive he is.
How naive he is.
Because the one line that stuck out was, well, because they were in the midst of fighting. He came up because Zoro was fighting, or he beat Miss Monday, and he was fighting Monday. Monday.
Monday, Mr. 5, Miss Valentine.
No, they came in later, I think. Oh no, they were fighting.
They were in
now. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Because Luffy was like, how dare you beat all those people that they were so kind to feed us. And then he's like, they're tricking us. It's like, no, why would they feed us if they're going to be our enemies? I was like, oh, there it is. Yeah. That's the naive stupidity.
But it shows that Luffy's still young, right?
Yes.
A captain. He's still trying to find his crew.
Yep.
But he always sees the good in people. Even when he...
I mean, that's how he picked his crew, honestly. Yeah. That's how the crew got together. He always sees the good. Except that's like literally a double-edged sword where he's like, how could they do that? They're good. They fed me. Fed me. Okay. This is why I stopped reading One Piece.
But I think Nami is a good middleman for Luffy. Yeah. Because she was like, because at this point, Miss Wednesday... her identity was basically
because shown. Not just Miss Wednesday but also Mr.
the Mayor
8.
Mr. 8 yep Mr. 8
they revealed that they're from Alabasta and I was like, oh, this is how early on it happens. But this is actually how it started. And I couldn't remember because that's why I was like, I saw Mr. 8, I was like, he looks familiar. Why does he look familiar? Oh yeah, because he's technically from Alabasta. And then Miss Wednesday is Vivi.
Yeah.
And I was like...
You probably recognized her.
That's why I recognized her, but it's just because her hair was done differently and all that. And I was like, wow, this is confusing.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Luffy's super naive. But I think obviously it shows that his ideas about people are just kind of a little out there, I think. Just
very simplistic.
People. Yeah, simplistic.
Black and white.
Do you think that will be... Obviously, it's an issue, right? Because he didn't want to fight the people. Do you think after this saga, how do you think Luffy's overarching arc and thinking about people, how do you think that will change?
I don't think it'll change anytime soon until down the line, but I think it will cause issues for the whole crew overall.
Yeah. Overall. Okay.
But it's not going to change anytime soon.
Oh, most definitely not. No.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Zero. I don't know if you remember him. Do you remember him?
I remember the name. Zero? When they revealed his name. When Vivi was like, I can't tell you the name because it won't happen. But then she accidentally blurts it out and they're all like, what was it? Luffy and Nami were like, you just told us. And he's like, uh-oh. And then they just so also, I thought the pairings were interesting because there's Friday, the 13th.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, the unlucky pair. And they just happen to be there and they're like, and then now he's like about to leave. She's like, no, I'm not going to get caught up in this. And then the dude drew out their image or the pictures of them. And she's like, wow, that's really good. Turns around and is like, I'm going to, I was like, there's nowhere to go.
But yeah, Mr. Zero, who is going to be the next villain, basically, is what this arc is telling us. Yeah, and I think the most interesting line was that Nami said that his bounty number
is 80
million berries, which is 4 times as much as Arlong.
So
which is from the past saga.
Yeah, I think One Piece, I think it's cool right now in how they handle power levels.
Yeah.
It's in terms of the bounty, which I was like, honestly, that makes more sense than Dragon Ball Z's, because Dragon Ball Z's doesn't make sense for shit, and it doesn't matter for later. While here, it's like, I don't. So does this idea of a bounty last until like while, or does it like eventually just fizzle out?
The whole thing.
Okay, like it's important.
It's important.
And it matters. Okay, I'm just making sure because there's a lot of power systems don't matter, or it gets arbitrary after a while with numbers to where it doesn't really matter.
No, this matters here.
So it's still a good indicator. I should pay attention.
It's a good.
Because right now it's okay, cool. If it's 4 times the bounty, that means he's just 4 times stronger. Duh, he's worse. But
that means he's 4 times crazier too.
Yes.
Crazier, stronger, meaner. Can't wait. But I know you started reading this, and we were talking about this pre-recording, but you're like, yeah, Miss All Sundays in like being introduced, and I was like, do you know who that is, right?
Yes.
We all know who that is.
I won't say it.
We won't say
for
it
where we are now, because she's just Miss Sunday. And actually, for the longest time, I knew her name later, but I still remember her as Miss Sunday because I remember playing the fighting game, and that was her name at the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or I think I don't remember if they said the name or not, but for sure I remember it was, oh yeah, it's Miss Sunday. Damn.
Yeah. Okay, so as a reminder, Luffy wants 10 people on his crew. He currently only has 4 right now at this point.
They want a doctor, and they tried to get the old man to be the doctor. He's like, no, I'm too old for this. I'm like, but now I know why.
Yeah. But down the line, the next couple arcs, who do you think we're about to see? Who do you want next to be on the crew?
I don't actually. Are you asking me this? I have no idea.
You don't remember?
No, I don't remember who's the next in the crew. Actually, I remember who joins, but not the order.
Not the order. Okay.
So I won't say that now because I feel like it is spoiler-ish. But
yeah,
yes.
it is.
Or too spoilery for the scope of where we are now.
Yeah, it is. And I think this Whiskey Peak, it shows because Mr. 8 actually dies as a character. Yeah.
I thought, okay, again, I don't remember shit. So I was like kind of thrown off. It was actually kind of crazy. At first he dressed up as like
as Vivi.
As
a decoy.
As a decoy. And then Miss Sunday calls it out. She's like, "Oh, that's cute. Decoys." I was like, "What the heck?"
And this was one of like I basically early on it was just one of the earlier deaths that really stuck out. Because Vivi is a princess of Alabasta. Yeah. And Mr. 8 was basically like a royal guard, just protecting her. So I think this death really stuck out because you're just like, oh wow, people are about to die in One Piece.
No, and she honestly took it like a champ, as in like they were like saying, oh, just be careful, but she like stood there and like watched and knew the consequences. I was like, oh my god, that's insane. Because no one expected it.
Being a princess.
Or no one expected him to die that fast. They're like, oh, he's leaving to do stuff, blah blah, or like to be a decoy. But then boom. Yeah. I was like, even I was like, whoa, okay, that just happened. Okay, dang.
I know, and I think as you're continuing to read this, you're gonna, and as we island hop, we're basically island hopping.
Basically island hopping. Yep.
You're gonna soon realize how, like you said earlier, how weird One Piece is, and their next island is called Little Garden.
Yeah.
Yeah. How? What do you expect out of this? No.
It looks like a jungle from like the big snippet. I was like, this ain't a garden.
Yeah, this is not a garden. What are you expecting out of Little Garden?
I don't know. I'm like, they just showed like a tiger or something. Oh, well, actually,
they showed the jungle.
They showed a jungle. But okay, I did get weirded out when they showed the big footprints. So that's where I was like, okay. Yeah. I was like, it's not a little garden per se, but it is like weirdly tiny, right? Like it's gonna flip. It'll try to flip whatever I think on its head, honestly.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Okay, my final question is, I know you're still early on, but how dark do you think these themes are about to be moving forward? Because I ask you this because your wife's favorite character, favorite character, you know what happens, and I know you know what happens.
Who doesn't? I mean,
because everyone knows it. But I'm just wondering how dark you think these themes are going to be. And how it's all going to be connected.
I don't know how dark, per se. And I don't think it'll happen I just have a feeling it won't happen anytime soon. That's my feeling, right? That's my gut reaction right now. But if it's about to get dark, then I won't expect it.
It's so weird because I'm rereading this and I'm currently caught up and I'm like, oh my god, all this shit was in front of my face this entire time. No, literally, I'm reading it and I'm like,
this is interesting.
I'm just weirded out. I was just like, wow. It's all connecting.
Interesting. All right.
Interesting. Yeah, keep that in mind. All I'll say is just pay attention. All you gotta do is pay attention.
I mean, yeah, it's like, I just read. Right now, it's like, I keep hearing that too. It's like, just pay attention. But I'm also just, honestly, I am just reading. And I'm sure, like, something will pop up like it did for, like, other manga, anime stuff.
There are just crazy people here who dissect each chapter on their podcast or YouTube. I'm like, oh my god, that's crazy.
Like how? No,
literally.
Like
the clues are just like
it's
there.
all there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I know, like the obvious ones. Like for instance, I can tell an obvious clue is with the doctor, and it's like, oh, he has a connection to Goldie Roger, right?
Yeah.
So
he sure does. I won't say. But yeah. Do you have any other closing thoughts? Are you gonna keep reading?
I'm gonna keep reading.
Little Garden's pretty good.
I'm gonna keep reading. Don't worry.
Good.
No thoughts,
good. No thoughts left. Me too. Same. It's just nice to reread it for me.
Yeah. It's nice for me to start reading for once.
Wow. Well, thanks for tuning in. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook at NgoVo Convo and NgoVo Convo. Logos above Harrison's head, as always. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like button, notification bell to get updates for when we upload. And subscribe. It's big red button below me.
Below her.
Yeah, below me. Yeah. Let us know how we're doing. What do you want to see next? This is our year to catch up on our backlogs.
I'm catch up on One Piece.
And Harrison's going to catch up on One Piece.
Soon, TM.
We'll see you on the next part. Bye-bye.